There was another thing in that Cade presser. I don't know if you peeped it earlier, but Cade said he would welcome on giving his input on roster moves. Do you think that the organization should, ask him about players that maybe he fits better with? Because we saw this year in the starting lineup, I mean, there was no spacing around him whatsoever with Killian Hayes, Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duren. It was, going back to the Josh Smith, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond spacing era days where there was no spacing. Would you be okay with, the organization, consulting him with possibly trades or free agent signings?
Yes and no. I feel that if they make a strong hire in the president of basketball ops, and let's just say he or she decides to go ahead and move in the direction to get a new general manager, let's let the new general manager cook and whatnot. Let's see what they can come up with. But I think, let's just be real. This is the NBA. A lot of teams are going to their star player to see what they want. And who are we kidding? Cade Cunningham is the star player on the Pistons. So you want to keep this guy happy. You do not want him to be one of the first, probably. I don't know if he would be the first. He might be the first to turn down that rookie max. You want to keep this guy happy. So, yes, get his input, keep him happy, see what his inside is, because you brought him in here not just because of his overall game. You brought him in here because he was the most intelligent player out of that draft you could do. So yeah, see what he likes, see what he's thinking at least. Maybe you don't even go with what he said, but you at least have in the back of your mind, you know what? He said this player, I may not like that player, but I may go get a player that has those traits that I think would be a better fit with him. Because sometimes stepping away from it, those people that are hired those positions may actually know what is better for the player than the player themselves. I mean, you got guys like Michael Jordan, and not trying to compare him to Michael Jordan, saying you got guys like Michael Jordan who wanted certain players to play with him, and Jerry Krause said, no, this is who we're getting. Well, look how that worked out for Jordan.
Yeah.
So I would say you have to find the fine line in between that of taking his input and running with it, and opposed to taking his input, seeing if it makes sense, and making some alterations here and there.
Yeah, I think to your point, like maybe Cade wants a movement shooter next to him in the backcourt. Maybe they don't get that movement shooter, but maybe there's one that the front office. I'll just use a guy as an example. Maybe they go out and get a Malik Monk. I mentioned it before. I think he's a gettable free agent. Given his exit interview, doesn't sound like he's coming back to Sacramento. I don't know if you saw his interview after the game. It doesn't sound like he's coming back. I mean, maybe they go out and get B- guys to improve this roster. I wouldn't be mad at it personally.
I don't. If you're looking at the current free agent landscape, I believe getting a couple of B- guys, maybe one C+ guy, I believe that would be a lot better than going out and giving a max contract to somebody that is not going to move the needle. And if you're thinking about who I'm talking about, yes, I do not think that giving a max contract to Tobias Harris is going to move the needle for this franchise. So if you go out and you get a couple of guys on some smaller deals like a Malik Monk, get him on you might not be able to get him on a player-friendly deal. You might have to overpay Malik Monk a smidget to bring him here. But when you're a 14, 68 team, you might as well get ready to overpay a little bit. So, yeah, a couple of smaller signings, a short-term contract to be able to work out, yeah.
I'm glad because we're going to talk about Tobias Harris later in the podcast, but the one thing I will end this topic on is I think Pistons fans, I know they're very prideful, I know they're passionate, but beggars can't be choosers. You just won 14 games. You can look at the free agent list and say, no, I don't want him on my team. I think you have to take some risk and you have to take some lumps, because given where the franchise is currently at, over the past 4 years, you've been the worst team in basketball. You might have to overpay for a role player until the culture gets back to a winning culture where maybe you can get those, hometown discounts. I'm thinking like Antonio McDyess from years ago until you can kind of get like those kind of discounts. I don't think they're going to get those type of discounts unless the player is really bought in and like really wants to come to Detroit. But I personally don't know any players that are, going to take, below market value to come play for the Pistons right now currently.
Absolutely not. I mean, I think if they would have got somewhere, if they would have been able to get to that 25, 28 game number, they might have been able to sweet talk a couple of guys like, hey, we're not where we need to be, but I think you can put us over the hump. When you are back-to-back seasons, the worst record in the NBA in 4 straight seasons, one of the 4 or 5 worst teams in the league, that is a problem. That's going to be a hard sell. That's going to be a hard sell on guys that can probably make more money with their franchise they're with right now. That's a hard sell on guys that can probably make more money in a warm weather state. You're right. Beggars cannot be choosers. So if you're saying, oh, I don't want that guy, but that guy is somewhat good and willing to take money, hey, the Pistons won 14 games last season. Hey, the Pistons set the single season game losing streak at 28 games. You cannot say who you don't want on this team as a fan. You need, if anybody of any type of talent wants to put on a Pistons jersey, you need to get on your hands and knees and pray to whatever religion, rock. If you don't pray, whatever, just be thankful.
Seriously, man, because I just see a lot of fans that are like, oh, I don't want that guy on my team. Like, we have $60 million in cap. I was just like, well, you're gonna have to overpay for guys to come here. It's gonna be
This is not NBA 2K. You can't override a signing and make them come to you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really think we have anyone in this front office that's that good of a persuader or a salesman to, kind of talk like a top tier free agent to come here. But like I said, maybe down the line during the future, things can change.